It's a big day in Jacob Zuma's corruption trial. The NPA's Billy Downer will find out if he'll be allowed to continue to prosecute the former president. The High Court in Pietermartizburg will rule on Zuma's recusal application. He claims Downer is biased and doesn't have the title to prosecute him in his arms deal corruption case. He also recently laid complaints against the prosecutor for allegedly leaking his health information. The state denies these allegations. Tracking the case is our reporter Siphamandla Goge, who's standing by at the Pietermartizburg High Court. Sipa, if you can recap for us of what the two legal teams argued back in September.
Before I do that, please kindly allow me to tell you that former President Jacob Zuma has arrived at the Pietermartizburg High Court. He is sitting inside that room behind me. My hard-working colleague Joe Coman is showing you his security detail manning the entrance to that room. That is where former President Jacob Zuma is. So he has arrived at the Pietermartizburg High Court. Earlier on, there were conflicting reports whether he will be coming to the Pietermartizburg High Court or not. His foundation had said in the past that he will not be physically present here in court because he was going to send an attorney, but things have changed. He is physically present in court. We have seen him. We asked him how he was doing. He waved at us. Now you are seeing the inside of the courtroom. This is where everything will play out. Up there will be Judge Pete Koen, who will be delivering his judgment today on whether the former president will succeed in his application to have the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, removed from prosecuting this matter. So when we were inside this courtroom months ago, the legal team of former President Jacob Zuma argued that Advocate Billy Downer is not fit to prosecute this matter. I'm going to ask my colleague Joe Coman just to pen and show you what usually is the public gallery, which is manned by members of the Presidential Protection Unit and Security Detail of the former president. Usually that gallery is packed every time the former president appears in court, but today, because it's the judgment, we don't expect too many people to come here, and also in line and in compliance with COVID-19 regulations, not too many people will be allowed inside court. Perhaps let's take a listen to what Advocate Dalimpofu said when he was arguing during his application to have Billy Downer removed. They said, as the legal team of the former president does not trust Billy Downer. He feels that he is biased, he is compromised in this matter. Let's take a listen to Dalimpofu.
In the afternoon, a member of the prosecuting team gave Mr. Downer's affidavit to a journalist, and this is worse, 100 times worse than whatever was being discussed by Mr. Soul, which we don't know now, but we just know that some of it had to do with the first accused. Here, what was being leaked was a document that was confidential, contained the confidential health information of the first accused. That makes the transgression far worse.
So that's the one side of the argument, Sipa, and the other?
The other is that the state argues that, listen, all these allegations and claims that you are putting forward, they do not hold because these are the things we have said in the past. They have been dismissed. There is no evidence to suggest that Advocate Billy Downer is compromised, that his character and conduct is questionable. So he will continue to prosecute this matter according to the state. They say he is fit and proper. He's the best man for the job. He's been involved with the case for years now. He's got the background information to it, the historical context to it. So they say, listen, we are opposing this application to have Billy Downer removed because there is no merit to the claim that is being brought forward by the former president according to the state. Let's take a listen to their representative, Vem Trenkov, arguing on behalf of the state, saying there is no evidence to support all the allegations that have been made by the former president. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Downer asked Mr. Zuma's attorney whether the Surgeon General's doctors accept the conclusion of the NPA doctors. He asked them on the 14th of September, that's in Annexure AA to Mr. Downer's affidavit, and since then on Saturday, on the 18th of September, he asked them again. They didn't respond to those requests. Instead, yesterday afternoon, we get an affidavit to say and let me say, because we haven't had a response, and in the light of your Lordship's ruling, we brought the medical experts down here. They're sitting in court. They came to give evidence as your order had anticipated, only to get a message by affidavit yesterday afternoon to say, Mr. Zuma is not coming, but we can go on with the application.
Thank you for that recap, Sipa. Now, 3 days ago, the Jacob Zuma Foundation said the former president, wasn't going to be appearing in court. You've confirmed to us at the beginning of this crossing that he is indeed in court. Any idea why the change of heart?
Well, I guess it's because the former president himself has always wanted to be physically present in court. It's not surprising that he decided to show up in court today. He has always wanted to be physically present in court. While I'm answering that question, I'm going to ask Joe Komane, my colleague here, to show you the level of security around the court passages here. There is heavy deployment of police personnel here. There is security detail of the former president around the passages of the Pietermartizburg High Court. He is the former president. He is still accorded that status and he's got the benefits. So the Presidential Protection Unit and members of the SAPS are looking after the former president. And I can tell you that he has always wanted to be physically present in court. He has said that he wants to attend the proceedings, even giving oral evidence during his application to have Billy Downer removed is something that he has said he wanted to do. Let's take a walk down this passage or down this hallway while we want to show you the visuals of where the former president is currently consulting inside that room. I'm going to ask my colleague Joe Komane just to turn left here. So former President Jacob Zuma has always maintained that he wants to be physically present in court. Before, circumstances did not permit him to attend because he was incarcerated, but he was also in hospital. He came to Pietermartizburg last week to open a criminal case. Where you see police officers going in, that's where the former president is right now. So when he came to Pietermartizburg to open a criminal case against Advocate Billy Downer, he said Billy Downer had leaked his very sensitive medical records to the media, something that Downer and the state dispute. Perhaps let's take a listen to what he said when he opened that criminal case. He tried to avoid questions from the media, but he was seen in public for the first time last week, and today we are seeing him for the second time after he was released from hospital. Of course, he did address his supporters virtually when they held a prayer meeting for him, but to see him physically present in Pietermartizburg High Court is significant. Let's take a listen to what he said last week.
Bazofunda ke basho ukuthi lithini leqala kanjani. Akukho kunye engizokusho mina ngiyahamba ngiyabashiya la nazana kakhulu nabo nokwazi nokubonda nabo ngikwazi ukubonda nami isiboshwa mina so siyashaya iboshwa siyabonga bakwethu musu kungibuza umbuzo.
Is there any symbolism, do you think, Sipa, to him being present physically at the court today?
Well, I guess it will. Number one, remember there have been questions and, speculation about his ill health, the fact that he is physically present in court. And I can add, let me add this, which I think is very important. I saw his medical doctor accompanying him when his motorcade arrived here at the Pietermartizburg High Court. His doctor is also in the present. But I want to ask my colleague Joe Komane to show you a gentleman there who's wearing a grayish suit. That is Vugile Matabela, who's the spokesperson of the former president. And the guy who's wearing a black suit behind there, that is who's collecting his accreditation. That is Tobani Zuma, the former deputy mayor of Msunduzi municipality and also a relative of former President Jacob Zuma, one of the staunch supporters of former President Jacob Zuma. But it's significant to have the former president physically present in court today for Judge Bidkun to assess, but also for the indication as to when are we likely to get underway with the trial here. And of course, all of that is dependent. The gentleman who's passing by is Tobani Zuma, a former mayor or former deputy mayor of Msunduzi municipality. So it's important to get a sense of what will happen moving forward. So if this judgment goes the former president's way, that will be a victory to him. or for him. If his application is dismissed, then we are likely going to have a judge entering into a conversation with all teams to say, okay, now that we have cleared this one is off the way, when are we likely to get the first witness on the stand? But remember, the former president or any party, the NPA or the state, whoever loses this, may have legal recourse to appeal. Will they exercise that right to appeal all the way? If they decide to appeal, whoever loses it may take it on appeal. That may delay the start of the trial. But if any party that loses does not want to go ahead with the appeal, we can get underway with the trial. We can have the trial date fixed. So the fact that the former president is here, that is significant in that whole context of saying what happens moving forward with the trial.
All right, Siphamandla Goge is at the Pietermartizburg High Court. He'll be there all of today for as long as that case is ongoing, and we'll cross to him a little bit later. The judgment meant to be handed down by Judge Pete Kuhn at about 10 o'clock.